Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. This is our last chance to turn this current correction just into a deviation, a fake out to the downside with potential V recovery. Crypto Twitter is massively divided between people that are convinced that we're gonna go much lower versus the people that are optimistic, thinking that this is just a fake out. And today, the price has the potential to clarify things a lot more and answer the question whether we're going to have very fast recovery or if it's going to take much longer. Guys, if this is the type of content that you like to watch, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I publish one of these videos. And if you feel like supporting the channel, watch this video until the very end and do not go anywhere without leaving a comment down below. That's really helping the channel to continue growing. And by the way, guys, yesterday I got invited as a guest to Paul Baron Network channel, which is a magnificent channel sharing tons of alpha and news about crypto. I'm crossing fingers that I'm going to get invited once again. To all the new people that are new subscribers to my channel, I welcome you in. I'll work double hard to get to you the best alpha across all crypto, keep you informed, and to share my experience in technical analysis and combining many sources of information for the perfect confluence for those golden entries that we all love. If you haven't seen me, yesterday we made two videos together, one about technical analysis on altcoins that were about to or just popped into a breakout. You can also watch my technical analysis answering the question of how I see the market with Ethereum and Bitcoin when it comes to the current correction that we're seeing. It will really help me if you go to those two videos and give good feedback. Of course, that's going to influence whether the team at Paul Baron Network is going to invite me for new updates. So thanks so much for that. Let's get into the content. I got a few tweets here that are very interesting. Capturing my attention is Titan of Crypto. He says Bitcoin is still holding the line. You can see that he went for plotting a trend line connecting all the bottoms of the previous bull market with this particular bottom that we are seeing here. Interestingly, all these lines are matching perfectly in connection, not just support, but as a resistance, turning it into support once again. And almost magically, we are touching that level precisely a few days ago. And not just that, but also our friend RSI, coincidentally, very similar values as well. I had to admit with the S&P, it's a mixed bag because it's very nice to see how it's printing almost every day a new all-time high, but at the same time, it's getting into a territory which is starting to spook lots of experts. We have a very long-term trend line that is connecting the recession during the 30s with the 2000 bubble that took many years to recover, by the way. Typically, rejections on this trend line tend to be the most significant ones, so all eyes at around these prices of 5.5k and beyond. And yes, it's been painful, but we're getting very close to see Germany completing all the selling of their holdings. During the morning, they were transferring just over 2,000 Bitcoin, so every time that the price is going slightly higher, they're taking advantage of that and selling once again, pushing us back down. Yesterday we went to 59 and they sold. They pushed the price to 58. Right now we are getting very close to 60k, and I'm sure that they must be thinking what is the perfect time to once again sell this 2000 Bitcoin. You can see that we almost made it to 60k. Immediately after that, we are seeing a drawdown of 2%. So I wouldn't be surprised that on this week here of volume as well, they decided to put the orders to sell around there. Also because there were some levels of liquidation, so it could be a combination of both. And now for a third day consecutive, we are seeing that the ETFs are consuming everything that Germany is selling. So this, instead of looking like a sellout, is looking pretty much like a transfer from weak hands to stronger hands, which is great. It's very bullish. And this particular tweet is capturing a lot my attention. The Nasdaq and the S&P, pretty much all assets are on a winning strike, except for crypto. When you focus in the comparison of Bitcoin and the Nasdaq, is the timing of this, and particularly the decoupling of the index versus Bitcoin. After the Nasdaq started selling in here earlier this year, it had a speedy recovery with new highs, whereas Bitcoin stayed there after we went to 73K, we have been going sideways and now starting to see some bearishness, but Bitcoin hasn't followed up with this last move up of the Nasdaq. So if we go back in time, we're going to notice something very interesting, which is at this point in time, typically the Nasdaq recovers before Bitcoin. So we could say that if Nasdaq continues going higher and maintain this trend up, this is like a pressure cooker for Bitcoin, because it means that eventually it's gonna make it just impossible for Bitcoin to not follow up, subject to the Nasdaq continuing to go up. Notice another pattern as well. Bitcoin tops in the bull market before the Nasdaq does. For example, here in 2017, we saw the top, but the Nasdaq had a little bit more room to go before starting the correction. And the same happened in 2021, transition to 2022. We had a top at 69, and when we were on 3 candles in red, the Nasdaq started printing the first big red candle. Very interesting if you are exposed to stocks. Yesterday we saw the USDC treasury printing 250 million. Typically when they print is because there's demand for USDC. I will bet that some of this is having an effect on today's price action as well. Roman has here a good argument to say that it's very difficult that we are going to break above 60K. It's going to be a tough one. And one of the things that I really like from his analysis is that he focuses on multiple time frames in the relation between the direction of the price versus the direction of the volume. He points out that on the 4-hour, although the price starting an uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, at the same time as we go higher, we start losing volume, a bearish divergence against the volume. On the other side, since we started selling from 72 on the daily, we are seeing an increase in the volume as we go down, indicating that the lower we go, the more interest there is in selling. I have to say that although at first sight this looks very bearish, we have also many other signals that we have to put together on the table to fully understand if this is the right way of reading the market right now. So let's go into the charts. Look once again to the daily chart. You can see that we have this trend line in here. It's becoming the pain that we are currently facing because we are touching for a second consecutive day this trend line in here, and everything looks like ready for a collapse to the next level lower. But I like to see the market from multiple angles, and I fully understand the people that are looking at this as a channel, judging by this volume and thinking that this might be a deviation, very similar deviation that we have at 73K, that when we came back into the range, we sold out to the low end of the range. So the argument from the bulls is that if we manage to re-enter this area of volume, there's a high chance that we might make another run to the top of the range. But in order for that to play out, we really need to make it inside this area above 61.5. The longer we stay here rejected, the higher is the likelihood that we're going to see a strong rejection from here with further continuation to the downside. And these boxes that you see here in yellow are representing my areas of big liquidations on the downside. We have liquidations from 49 to just above 50K and liquidations from 47.8 to 46.6. We already took these liquidations there. That is the reason that attracted the price to almost 54K. So although I'm seeing lots of buys on the ETF, I continue to monitor this area. I have orders in case we fall this low to buy these liquidations. Liquidations are typically acting like a spring. The largest the liquidation, that forces the people that get liquidated to close their position, and with that it turns it into a market buy for a massive amount of Bitcoin. And that's why when you pinch a liquidation, the price tends to immediately react to the upside and leave just a wick to the downside. So I'm expecting that if we fall here, there should be an even larger leg than what we are seeing here, starting from the 50s or potentially from the 48s, 49. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. We are seeing strong buying in here, and we need to keep monitoring the signals on the daily that are constantly coming in. More of that in just a second. We have to give a proper look to the daily because we had this breakout in here. This happened on the 25th of June. Since then, we moved to 64K. We have the sellout to 54. And from this higher low, we finally found the energy to produce another breakout. This level made it higher than that, therefore it constitutes a second layer breakout to the upside, and this is putting us closer and closer to our target of getting to 51 on the RSI. Now I'm using the RSI VIP and the indicator is showing me that that corresponds to 61.3K. That is our next resistance in the RSI, and if we made it there, it will look pretty good on the price and many people will get very excited. But what you need to be thinking is that at 61.3K, we are still not out of the woods. I'm gonna show you why. That is because if we were at 61.3K, we will make it precisely to this level of the RSI. And that for the RSI is resistance. The last time we touched that level, the RSI went from 62 to 25 and the price made it from 72K to 53.6K. If I was you, I will take very serious this resistance. And I'm not telling you this is the point to sell. I'm just telling you this is the point to keep both eyes on the screen to see if Bitcoin is capable of testing this from below, breaking above it, retesting it, and continuing to the upside. If we solve this, we have an opportunity. This is our last chance for a speedy recovery. If we see a rejection in here, this is the key to a potential new low. This might bring us back down to RSI 31, assuming we get a rejection there. An RSI of 31 currently is located at 53K. That is relative to where the price is right now, which is 58.5. If we were at 61, an RSI of 31 might go as low as 51K. And there you go. That's your whole narrative for both potentially going to 51, and that is also the secret to re-entering into the range. On the 4-hour, we seem to be readjusting the ABCD harmonic pattern, and right now it's still in play with a higher C level, which is getting very close to the top of this descending broadening wedge. Again, for the 4-hour, very scary to be here as well. The last time we saw a sell from 64 to 54. So a 10K sell is in play when we touch this level once again. And I'm not telling you to sell there. I'm telling you to pay attention which makes a lot of sense. Everybody should pay attention to that level. What is good though is that we are retesting the CPR first support and we seem to have managed to recover from being below. So this increases the chances that we have a potential safe journey into the pivots of the month of July, which are located from 63.5 to 65.2. And let's revisit the strongest signals that we have seen for BTC in the past weeks. First of all, the longs shorts ratio. You can see that we went from being very bullish during December, started losing momentum, and the longs were losing steam, no longer being able to reach the top levels of longs. There was a diminishing amount of longs up until we are getting squash here into the bearish territory. Here, the shorts are so grouped, so packed of shorts that eventually a whale comes in, buys, liquidates lots of shorts very fast, very quickly. In only 3 days, we squash a lot of shorts and we get a breakout from the very bottom of the range on this. And that is precisely what has been printing signals of delta here, telling us to pay attention, just like we pay attention in the past where we saw some relief. Cross-fee ratio is shouting once again, very rare signal that you only see when there is recovery from the cross-fee ratio. You got this area here, that area there. I don't see why this wouldn't be a great buy, at least for some leg to the upside from here, as we have seen during the full bull market. My concern when I look at the Nasdaq is that the Nasdaq lost momentum here on the 24th of June, and it has had an impulsive move right after that straight into resistance. So my question is the Nasdaq going to see a rejection here? This is the time where we need to put attention, because this rejection of the Nasdaq has the potential of possibly printing a higher low and continuing in the oversold area, but also if it breaks below these lows, it might see a bit more struggle. It all depends on the nature of the interaction against this resistance. The 200 daily is giving us a headache for a second day consecutive. We are seeing so far a rejection on the weekly. Good news, because we are still managing to keep our bullish cross on the stochastic RSI, which tends to give pretty decent runs to the upside throughout the bull market. We just need to be careful with our expectations at this point in time, because on the RSI we have lost the momentum, we are below the resistance, so we are going to have some work to do here if we want to see some recovery. Interestingly, the order book on the upside seems pretty thin. I don't see much selling pressure we saw around the 7th of July, and there's still a lot of interest into buying the 52 to 50k right here. Some levels of buying are appearing at 54. We need the bulls to act very quickly here, because we are leaving a candle that is quite bearish on the 4-hour, and this is a double top. So hopefully the bulls are going to step up and invalidate this pattern. And if we see a low here, hopefully that low won't come lower than 54k, so we can maintain this 4-hour bullish structure intact. Guys, Bybit just became the second largest exchange in terms of volume. I have an amazing deal on Bybit, not just because of the up to 30,000 in rewards if you use my link in the description, but also you can use it to get a 70% discount in any of my memberships on the TTP website. Go to thetradingparrot.com, scroll down to the bottom and click on what's included. The list of indicators is almost endless, loads of alpha and value, and pro tools for trading with bots. In order to get the perks and connect your Bybit account to get the 70% discounts, join my Discord server and write down your Bybit UID after you join. And if you have used my referral link, you can get the 70% discount. After that, just claim your discount. That's it. And if you already have a Bybit account, you can find here instructions on how to transfer it, so you can use my referral code and still get the 70% discount. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Hit the like and remember to not go anywhere without leaving that comment below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.